Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am introducing a vlog that I've already shot. I'm editing it right now, and it's kind of a themed vlog, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. This idea was, I think it's completely my own. I've never seen anyone else do something like this. I'm sure people have had authors recommend, you know, maybe like they go and find blurbs from authors that they like or something. I don't know. So mine's kind of like that, but not exactly. So a couple of months ago, I read Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare. Great book, by the way. And less than a month ago, I found Adam Cesare has a YouTube channel. What? He has a HorrorTube, BookTube kind of channel. So mainly what he does is he gets together some horror movies that he really enjoyed or that he's watched recently and that he liked, and he recommends them to you. And then at the end, he recommends a book based on those movies, which is really cool. There is another playlist that is just books. It's like 17 videos, but he lists his top 5. Like, if you like YA books, then you'll like this horror book. Top 5 vampire books, or like under the radar vampire books. So I did a lot of research, and I found 4 books that Adam Cesare has mentioned on his channel, which I will link down below. And we are just going to find out if we can trust Adam Cesare or not. The first one was a non-fiction. It's Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. The second one was Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. The third one was The Return by Rachel Harrison. And the fourth one was The Merciless by Daniela Vega. Enjoy this video. P.S. I'm not yet sponsored by Adam Cesare, but if you're watching this, I'm your girl. Enjoy. I ended up starting with Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix, and I've already read 40 pages, and I honestly am loving it so much. So it's a non-fiction book about horror literature of the 70s and 80s. I'm just really enjoying it. I'm still in chapter 1, which is about Satan being in different books. I honestly want to own this book now. Like, I need this book physically. It's about the literature that changed the horror genre, because before The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby and The Other, there was really no horror genre to speak of. So it kind of paved the way for future authors to write in the horror genre, and I'm just very much enjoying it. Good morning! I finished chapter 1 of Paperbacks from Hell last night, which Okay, well, I finished the prologue and everything. I got to chapter 2, which is Creepy Kids. I have yet to read that one, but I read Satan, which was chapter 1. So it was about Satan always winning in paperbacks. Coffee break. So I finished the next chapter of Paperbacks from Hell, which was about creepy kids. And that is so much more up my alley than the Satan chapter. The Satan chapter just kind of creeped me out. Which I guess is technically what is supposed to happen. But this talked about, like, creepy kids and clowns and toys coming to life, and that all sounds great. Those are the kind of books that I want to be reading. They're probably going to scare the bejeezies out of me. But what I really like about Paperbacks from Hell is that, yes, it's basically a guide to all things horror books, but it's more than that. It talks about the history and about what really happened in the 70s and 80s that would make creepy kids really scary, or why people started writing about them. And so, in the 70s, like the mid to late 70s, things started changing as far as birth control and sperm banks started becoming a thing, and test tube babies, and I'm not sure why I, like, did that, because, like, test tube babies and all the kind of things that, like, we think about on the daily, we don't really give it a second thought. Yeah, it was just starting. So, of course, since that stuff was taking place in pop culture, the best thing to do is to put it into some horror books, you know? Like evil babies and clowns. And I'm actually super excited for a lot of the books in this part of the Paperbacks from Hell. These are the ones that I kind of want to go out and buy right now if I can find them. Which reminds me of a story. So I haven't really read any evil kid literature that I know of. I've watched books. I've watched movies with that trope. Is it a trope? I don't know. With that thing in it. And one that stayed with me forever, like, still to this day creeps me out, and I watched it as, like, a kid with my cousin, is Orphan. I think it's The Orphan. It was, like, a early 2000s movie, but as far as I know, it's not based on a book or anything, but it could be. I don't know. But if you've never seen The Orphan, like, you need to. It is scary, and there is no cheese factor in that movie, as far as I can remember. I just remember being terrified in that ending of that movie. But yeah, the next chapter is When Animals Attack. It's chapter 3. That starts with Jaws, which is funny because Jaws has been on my TBR for so long, but, like, I'm scared it's gonna be too cheesy for me. But then at the same time, I've never seen the movie or anything, and like, I honestly just don't want to have a fear of going in the water, because I love going to the beach, and I don't get to do it often enough because I don't live near a beach. But if, like, usually I'm the first one to jump into the water or run into the water, whether it be the ocean or a river or whatever. So if I read, like, when animals attack and there's a bunch of, like, killer sharks, and I don't want to manifest this fear for me. I haven't finished the killer animal section yet, but I am on this page where we are talking about killer rats, and just the description of the book makes me, like, gives me goosebumps. I hate rats with a passion. They might scare me, okay? Like, I don't like rats. I think this book would terrify me. It would play on my real life fear. So, of course my brain is saying, no, you don't want to read that. No. But my heart is saying, yes, you need that book in your life. Okay, so I'm actually really just flying through this book. I finished chapter 3, which is the killer animals. Most of that chapter is filled with books that I would definitely want to read. There's a sub chapter on killer dogs, which I just think would be a fun read. I'm not afraid of dogs, but then I might look, I mean, mine are tiny though, so I don't know. I don't think it would, like, scare me. I think that I would just be rolling my eyes the whole time, which would be fun to read still. Then there's the rats, which I talked about. Then there's, like, killer insects, which I hate insects. And then there's, like, killer reptiles, which reptiles creep me out. Snakes, I can't do. No. So I feel like there is potential there to read about my real life fears and, like, just mess me up even more than I'm already messed up. Chapter 4. I am 200 pages into a 514 page book on my computer. I might be able to finish it before work. It says this chapter will take me 20 minutes to read 42 pages. It's Real Estate Nightmares, which is, like, something that I like to read about. It's, like, haunted houses and stuff. Although I typically go for the more modern haunted house books. Okay, so I finished Haunted Real Estate, and the first part is, like, haunted houses and some books that kind of started the haunted house realm of horror, and those are the type that I would very much be interested in reading. There are more, like, supernatural ones listed, which I'm not a huge supernatural reader, so those ones are not at the top of my list. Chapter 5 is about weird science, which I don't love sci-fi. The thing that I really like about this Paperbacks from Hell is not only Grady Hendrix' writing style, it's, like, very unique and very different, but I'm so addicted to it. I'm also very, surprised at how well researched this was. It talks a lot about, like, the previous chapter was haunted real estate, and Grady Hendrix talks about how that was created, because in the time, 70s and 80s, there were police shooting people of color and causing riots, and kind of sounds like where we live today, doesn't it? Yeah, we haven't gone very far. But it talks about, like, the political reasons that people started writing about, like, haunted houses and things like that. It talks a lot about the economy and things like that, kind of inspiring the haunted houses. So I finished Weird Science, which kind of went how I thought it would. I didn't find a ton of recommendations. We are at chapter 6, which is gothic and romantic horror. Alright, so I finished gothic horror, which is kind of interesting. Like, I guess I just thought that gothic horror was, like, romantic. It's actually the genre that kind of shows that humans might be the real problem, or, like, the scariest thing in the world. So, humanoids now. I finished Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. So our first recommendation from Adam Cesare, and you know what? I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't give you an update after Inhumanoids because I didn't have anything to say that I haven't already said. The last chapter, though, was serial killers and slasher books, which is my favorite kind of horror, so that was definitely my favorite chapter, and I think I got the most recommendations out of that chapter. So I'm super excited to explore more in the horror genre. Okay, so I'm a couple hours into the audiobook of Mongrels. So far, it's a little bit scary, but it's more of like a coming-of-age novel for a werewolf. And there's, like, different things about different rules, and it's interesting, oddly enough. I did not think I would be intrigued by this book at all, but I am. I wanted to show you my kitchen because it's clean, and we are going to bathe my dogs because they need it, and I got some dog shampoo yesterday. They're not gonna like it though, but let me just show you. It's so pretty. I still have to do the floors, but that's clean so that my dogs can take a bath in there. And then I even clean the stove, and it's just so beautiful. No. Jelly. Come on. You're okay. Doggy bath. Come on. It's been a while since you've had a bath, I know. Oh, Bella. You guys are not being nice about them. Should I have done one at a time? I should have. There you go. Lay down, Bella. Sit with jelly. Jelly beans. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Look. Woo. There you go. Hours and I finished my kitchen. I got most of my couch done, but my dogs had to sit down, so I had to bring them a blanket. I've done some laundry. It's in the dryer still. And I've just been feeling really good and cleaning my house. I took out the trash. But you guys don't care about that. What you want to know is that I finished Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. So, I went into this book with the wrong impression that it was going to be like, you know, a werewolf, chilling werewolf story. It was more of a coming of age novel for a werewolf. Parts that were scary, but it wasn't as terrifying as I thought it would be. It was a decent book. It was interesting because it was one of the first, maybe the first werewolf book that I actually enjoyed. So I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star just because it's not something I would have picked up on my own, but since Adam Cesare recommended it, I did. I am going to read The Return tonight when I have tutoring. I started cleaning off my desk, so I might just work on that a little bit and maybe see if there's anything new on BookTube for a little while, but it was an interesting concept for a book. It's The Return. It's about this girl. I don't remember her name. She disappears. And then 2 years later, she comes back, but she's different. Hey, I'm in a live sprint with Gabby and Katie. You want to see? Ah! So we're doing a reading sprint. And it's awesome. I was going to update you when I got halfway through The Return by Rachel Harrison. I'm over halfway. I really like it. It's a little bit slower than I was hoping for. I kind of just want like a fun, action-packed thrill ride, but this one's more of a slow burn paranormal adventure, but I have to know what happens. But so far I feel like we can trust Adam Cesare. But look, I'm in a live reading sprint with Gabby and Katie. I'm so excited. I aspire to be a booktuber like Gabby. It's a little bit later and we just finished dinner, and I just finished The Return by Rachel Harrison. I don't know how to feel about this book because the writing was really good and the story was good, so I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It's just going into this book, I thought that it was going to be like a contemporary mystery thriller with horror aspects. It was a supernatural thriller with horror aspects. Some of it was gross, like a little too gross for my liking, but it didn't quite get as dark as I wanted it to. Overall, it was a very enjoyable story, though. The next one is an audiobook, The Merciless by Daniel Vega. Brooklyn Stevens sits in a pool of her own blood, tied up and gagged. Yes, okay. No one outside of this dank basement walls knows she's here. No one can hear her scream. A terrifying tale in the tradition of Carrie and the Exorcist. Sophie knows she shouldn't have gotten involved. When she befriends Riley, Grace, and Alexis on her first day at school, she admired them with their perfect hair and their good girl ways. They said they wanted to save Brooklyn. They wanted to help her. Sophie didn't realize they believed Brooklyn was possessed. This one, I mean, obviously, we already know that they think she's possessed, but I guess that they torture her. And somehow that sounded really good to me. I think with this one, I wanted it to be more contemporary, more like real life villains rather than the supernatural twist that it took on, which was fine. It worked out very good in this book. I just want something more slashery or more real world contemporary. So we are going to try The Merciless, and I will update you when I'm about halfway. Last night I finished The Merciless by Daniel Vega. It was gruesome and dark and violent and scary and chilling, and it was exactly what I wanted for this little vlog. It was great. It was horrible, but great. I've never had a book chill me to the bone like that one did. I was going to update you last night and tell you about it, but I was frozen with fear because of that book. And I've never read a book that froze me with fear. I think it was a great book, so it's going to be a 5-star for me. And since, well, let me just tell you what The Merciless is about. It's about this group of girls who takes this other girl from their high school to perform an exorcism because the devil is inside of her. And honestly, it was just a reason to torture this poor girl for hours. And it was disturbing in the best way possible. So, 5 out of 5 stars. I think that we're actually going to end the vlog here because I don't know how reading another book that Adam Cesare recommends is going to help us. We already know that. Okay, so we know that 2 of the books, if I would have rated both of them, they would have been 4 stars. Then the book that he wrote, I know he wrote more than this, but this is the only one I've read so far, and this is the only one I own. But this one, the one that he wrote, and The Merciless, the one that he recommended, they were both 5 stars. And then the Mongrels, the one that by Stephen Grimm Jones, was only a 3-star for me, but I can see how other people might really, really enjoy that book. It's just not 100% for me, but that's fine. The whole goal of this vlog was to ask ourselves if Adam Cesare, the author of Clown in a Cornfield, and the YouTuber, I think that I very much so enjoyed this project, and I would say that I think that we can trust Adam Cesare. Jelly beans here. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. I really, really enjoyed doing it. So, if you liked it, please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel where we're always talking about books.